Cagliostro, Swindler, or Superman? 170 years ago, there was a secret religious society which claimed that its president lived on the moon. The time is 1779, 10 years before the French Revolution. The place is anywhere in Europe, in any one of a dozen secret underground lodges of the Egyptian Freemasonry of high science. A new convert, having been investigated for months and questioned carefully for days, is about to be admitted into the mysteries of a cult so alien that many insist that it originated in a completely non-human mind. But whatever its beginnings, its worshippers now include some of the most powerful noblemen, richest merchants and wisest sages in all of Italy, Germany, and France. Princes and potentates are proud to be humble, though secret, members. The new convert, though frightened of what lies ahead for him this night, is proud of the honor and shakily determined to go through with it, no matter what happens. After hours of waiting and heartfelt meditation, he is led slowly, step by step, along a dark and winding underground path. He emerges into a hall so vast that he can hardly see the opposite wall, which is black, like the ceiling and floor and everything else in this strange place. In fact, the convert asks himself, are the walls really black, or do they just disappear into the eternal night of this subterranean chamber? In the light from 3 nearby lamps, he can barely make out the figures of serpents undulating across the floor. Are they embroidery? Are they paintings? Or are they real? Suddenly he gasps and falls to his knees as he notices an altar formed of human bones. Skulls are scattered about the floor, and between them are careless piles of ancient books, their yellowed pages somehow fallen open to an incantation for the raising of the dead. The novice realizes he is now alone and remains on his knees in the swirling gloom, hoping that nothing worse than the things he has already seen will materialize. He is disappointed. All about him, phantom figures, men and women with completely transparent bodies, begin to rise from the floor. They float across the enormous hall, groaning and writhing, and eventually disappear down into the blackness again. Hours pass. Finally, 3 solid human beings arrive, and he almost embraces them. They tie a ribbon dipped in blood around his head, strip his clothes off roughly, and trace strange Kabbalistic signs on his naked body. As soon as this is done, more ghostly figures appear. These spread a richly woven carpet before him and light a fire. A tremendous and incredible creature appears in the smoke of the fire, and all fall prostrate before him. Slowly, awesomely, in the strangest accent ever heard, the creature in the smoke intones the words of the oath that the convert must repeat after him. This, as closely as we construct it today from the half-burned documents of the secret society and the dry legal reports of the government and church officials who destroyed it, was what an initiation into the Egyptian Freemasonry of high science was like. But what was the purpose of this organization? That, alas, is lost forever. All we know today is what some of its leading members claim to be able to do, and the names of its chief officers. The name of its president was unmentionable. All that most members were ever told about him was that he lived somewhere in the mountains of the moon and followed a grand design of his own, which human beings could not be expected to understand. Immediately under him in rank was a certain Count Alexander Cagliostro, Grand Kofta for Europe and Asia, followed by Serafina, known as the Grand Mistress of Egyptian Freemasonry. This Count Cagliostro was a strange, heavyset, brooding man for whom the raising of the devil was supposed to be the easiest item in his enormous bag of magical tricks. He was said to be able to take a handful of pebbles gathered by a doubtful enemy along the seashore and transform them into perfect, glistening pearls. Many spoke, in low voices, of Seraphina's crystal ball, in which those she favored might be invited to view scenes from their past and future. And Seraphina and Cagliostro, between them, were widely considered capable of making those legendary creatures, the bottled homunculi, who could answer any question a human put to them. No one knew anything about Seraphina's background. Some members of the society dared whisper that she had been manufactured by Cagliostro himself as an experiment early in his career. But, Cagliostro, there was a history for you. According to him, he was a prince of Trebizond who had been sold as a slave when that eastern kingdom fell. He was purchased by one of the wisest men of all time, the sheriff of Mecca, and was given his freedom when the master decided that the young man had acquired all his wisdom. Cagliostro began to travel in search of farther wisdom and became a member of many strange sects in his pursuit of mystic knowledge. One of them, worshippers of the ancient Egyptian god Osiris, reputedly taught him the elements of the new religion. Another, a Dom Daniel of alchemists, gave him control over inanimate matter. Finally, on the Isle of Malta, Althotas, the wisest of sages, was believed to have shown him how to generate the spark of life and how to contact that strange entity on the moon, who for reasons of his own wanted a new religion established on earth. Whatever the purposes of the Egyptian Freemasonry of high science, it flourished and became more and more powerful. Every important city in Europe, from Paris to St. Petersburg, had a lodge of the society, and everywhere the most important men in the kingdom might well turn out to be members or worshippers. How the society was destroyed is still a matter for argument. Many believe it was discredited when Cagliostro was arrested for his part in the theft of a fabulous diamond necklace from the court of Marie Antoinette. No one ever found the necklace. Its value, by the way, was estimated at just a little more than the price of a battleship. And the details of the robbery were so confused and so mixed with royal scandal and the approaching rumbles of the French Revolution that Cagliostro and his fellow suspects were released. But some of the more powerful members of the society began to wonder about the grand kafta for Europe and Asia. Were the miracles they had seen no more than carefully rigged fakes? On December 29th, 1789, Cagliostro and Seraphina were arrested on their way to Rome by the Holy Inquisition. And that was that. In a very little while, a new story began to come out of the castle of St. Angelo, where they were imprisoned. Seraphina was talking fast, and as she did, she drew a novel picture of the man known as Count Alexander of Cagliostro, heir to the golden throne of Trebizond, pupil adored of the wisest sage Altaras, foster son of the sheriff of Mecca, and called by him the unfortunate child of nature, Grand Master Supreme of the Egyptian Freemasonry of high science and Grand Kafta of Europe and Asia. She said he was no more than an apothecary's apprentice named Giuseppe Balsamo, born in Palermo, Sicily, in 1743, that he was a town bully and a ne'er-do-well who'd been in every scrape imaginable before he'd met and married her in Rome, that she had made him into Cagliostro and given him every idea he'd ever had. According to the story, they died in the dungeons of the castle of St. Angelo, screaming hatred at each other, the greatest swindler the world has ever known, and the woman who almost founded a religion with him. But there were those who say that his downfall began when he tried to make a private profit out of the society, that the unknown creature living in the mountains of the moon was displeased by his theft of the queen's diamond necklace and disowned him, and that this strange creature is worshipped to this very day for plans of his own which are being slowly worked out by a modern form of the society and by descendants of Cagliostro and Serafina.